We want to bring into the conversation former CIA and cybersecurity expert Eric Cole. Eric, good morning. A pleasure to have you here on Live Now from Fox.
Good morning.
So a lot to break down, Eric. We know that this is being sold as a solution, but it's going to take trust from the American people, especially with what we've seen with the recent congressional hearings, concerns about AI and also cybersecurity. Could you break that down for us?
Sure. So it looks like one of the leaders in buying TikTok is going to be Oracle. And that's really interesting because Oracle, everyone thinks of as sort of a database company, but Oracle has a lot of information and data on America and what we're doing. So this is very interesting because now they're not only going to be able to see what we're doing, but now they're going to be able to track and monitor and look at where we're going. If you remember the movie Minority Report, where there was pre-crime, we're sort of heading into that now with this TikTok purchase, where now you have a company like Oracle that can actually see and predict and look at what Americans are doing and where they're going. So yeah, TikTok is going to survive, but the question is, how is it going to look and what is going to be the impact on America?
You hit the nail on the head. That term impact is where a lot of people are looking this morning. We know that compliance deadline has been extended to December 16th to give some breathing room, but that also gives the risk of commitment. What does that mean as far as U.S. and the Chinese relationship for TikTok?
The reality is the train has left the station. I mean, China has been recording and monitoring all of our information on TikTok for the last 10, 12, 15 years. And those servers are still going to stay in China. They still have all of that data and all of that information. What's going to happen over the next couple of months is it's going to be minimal impact to those who use TikTok, but you're going to see a new app come out. You're going to have to update your app because there's going to be a transition of code and algorithms. And that's the thing that people miss is we focus a lot on the data that they've captured on Americans over the last decade or so, but it's really the algorithms of how they predict and analyze behavior that's really the criticality, and that's what's really being handed over. And then in the US, we're actually going to be rewriting some of the code, taking over the algorithms. So most likely it's going to look like about an 80% ownership by Oracle and some other American companies and 20% ownership by ByteDance. So they're still going to be involved. It's just going to be a minority ownership, and we're going to be transferring code and algorithms into the US to protect America.
Eric, we've seen with those political and congressional hearings that this is being framed as a win-win, but questions this morning surrounding that win with so many unknowns.
It's one of those where it's really a win-loss, I would say. It's a win in that TikTok has become a critical part of our economy. Whether we like it or not, if TikTok went away, it would hurt Americans. A lot of people are running businesses. A lot of people are making money. A lot of people are living their lives on TikTok. That's how addicted we've become to social media. So if TikTok went away, it would have a huge negative impact. So the good news is TikTok is going to survive. But the loss is, what about all of that data? What about all of that information that the Chinese now have on Americans? What are they going to do with it? And what are they going to do in the future to be able to track, monitor, and predict our behavior?
You mentioned the workforce on TikTok. There are also concerns about how it might impact trade. The latest from Reuters Business this morning, Eric, as they say, quote, President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping seeking an agreement this Friday to help keep the video app TikTok online in the U.S. and ease tensions between two superpowers locked in a standoff over trade. Many people don't realize how this app could impact trade as far as the U.S. and also China. Could you break that down, please? But also you talk about the superpowers in the tech world.
Yeah, so TikTok really isn't the play here. TikTok is sort of a peace offering between the two countries because we know that the tariffs, and there's been a lot of tension between the U.S. and China, and we know there's a lot of cyber spying and attacks and other things going on. So what this is really showing is, okay, can these two countries actually get together and agree and come together for what's best for both countries. So this is sort of almost like the beginning of a peace treaty between China and the U.S., because if we can go in and agree to terms and conditions on transferring, China's willing to take their technology, TikTok, and transfer it to the United States. That's a huge give on the part of China. So then the question is, what is the U.S. giving back in return? And my guess is we're probably going to be giving some ease on tariffs and other factors. So yeah, this is just a trading card, but it's a first step in a peace offering between China and the United States.
Yeah, and you mentioned that first step. What could this mean for the future of economic innovation and even national security?
So the good news is that we're getting access to the technology. So we'll now be able to see the algorithms, see how they work, and see how they operate. So the good part is that China is now giving us some of their access to, let's say, spying, because the reality is TikTok and these other social media apps, yes, they're social media, but they're gathering data, they're predicting, and they're essentially, in some aspect, in my opinion, sort of spying on what we're doing. So we're getting an insight into their technology. But the scary part is, if China is willing to give this up, that must mean that they must have other advanced technologies, because China is always very advanced on technology. So it's not like they're going to take their latest and greatest state of the art and give it to us. So if they're willing to give us TikTok, the real question is, what other algorithms or technology are they developing that we don't know about that could potentially be used as a cyber weapon against America?
And as you mentioned that, I mean, many people on the edge of their seats listening a lot more closely as you say that, because let's be real, when you type something in on a search engine, that is stored in what people know as the cloud. When you upload a picture online, that is stored on what you call the cloud. How does that relate to this? Because many people concerned, okay, for example, we've seen people getting cancel culture, posting something on what was then Twitter, and then 8 years later, even though if they delete it, it still somehow comes up.
We talk about data privacy, and everyone says we want data privacy, but the unfortunate reality that we're seeing with TikTok and these other social media is data privacy is a train that's leaving the station and probably not going to come back, because we are giving away so much information. So the thing that we need to think about is, why are we posting so much information on social media? Why are we making it publicly available? Because the reality is we're giving away our privacy. We're giving away our data every day that we take pictures, every day that we post images. We're basically giving away the privacy. And the concern is, even though TikTok is coming in the United States, think of all the data and information it has on America, and that the privacy factor has really gone out the door, and how much information the government, or let's say Oracle or whoever buys TikTok, has on Americans.
A lot of helpful information you have shared bright and early on this Friday. Eric Cole, former CIA and cybersecurity expert, a pleasure to have you join us here on Live Now from Fox. Thank you so much for your candidness and your stellar back and forth. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. And as we